Hello everyone and welcome back to the Colorado Rockies franchise. In the last episode, the Rockies continued their streak of good play and are now 26-23, 6 games back of the Dodgers in the NL West. Also currently tied for a wild card spot. Interestingly, and this is very unlike the Rockies if you're a Rockies fan, they're worse at home right now than they are on the road. 12-15 at home, 14-8 on the road. Normally it's like the complete opposite. The Rockies are typically very, very good at home, even in their worst seasons, and typically quite bad on the road. In today's episode, we'll play this first game with Glenn Otto against the Giants, and then I want to focus on some player lock stuff with some guys in the minor leagues, specifically Zach Veen, who is down at AA and struggling mightily. He's batting a 181 right now. Zach Veen is not exactly a super highly touted prospect. He's an 81 potential, so he can definitely be a good player in the MLB, but I don't know if he has potential to be necessarily an everyday starter at the MLB, where Jordan Beck, I believe, does, and Beck is playing quite well at AAA with a 257 average and a 324 OBP with a 745 OPS. I actually think that Jordan Beck is relatively ready to be at the MLB level, and at the trade deadline, when I make a bunch of moves, it's my plan to bring him up and have him be an everyday starter. He has 87 potential, quite a bit higher than Zach Veen, so he is a guy that I think definitely could be a big time contributor in the MLB. By the way, here's the team rankings. Let's find the Rockies. Rockies are 13th in batting average, so a top half of the league in terms of batting average. We are second in at bats, so we have a ton of at bats, I guess. We are tied for 12th in runs scored. We are third in total hits. We are tied for 9th in doubles. We are tied for 7th in triples, 27th in home runs, tied for 12th in RBIs. We're 9th in stolen bases. We're 21st in walks, which is something I really think we need to get better at with this team. And we're still striking out quite a bit, as we are 21st in strikeouts, first place being the team with the least amount of strikeouts. So we're closer to the bottom part of the MLB in terms of striking out. We are 24th in team slugging percentage, and we are 19th in OBP. We are also 19th in errors, so we give up quite a few errors. In ERA, though, we are 11th, playing quite well. So kind of what I think these stats are telling me is that this level of play can't really keep up. The offense is clearly not the best. It's a lot better than it was last season, but we're low on base percentage and not great in terms of the average. We're average with batting average right now, meaning that we've got guys who are getting a good chunk of hits, but then we're nearly bottom 10 in on base percentage, which I think basically means that we're getting carried by a few guys on the roster, and then the rest of the team is not getting on base a lot. And if you have a low OBP, you're not going to score nearly as many runs, meaning that I don't think this level of offense is going to be keeping up for the whole season. 26-23 looks really cool right now, but I would definitely say it is unlikely that we keep up that pace going into June, into July, and the rest of the season. Welcome to Coors Field, everybody. It is time for the Rockies to face off against the San Francisco Giants, a division rivalry, as I have a completely black screen at the moment. Literally nothing going on in the background. This is very bizarre. And we're so back. It is raining here in Denver. I don't know what that black screen was about. It's Glenn Otto on the mound. He's been bad this season. Easily our worst starter, I would say, outside of maybe Jack Flaherty. Flaherty might be slightly worse, but it's been him and Flaherty as our worst two guys in the starting five. But let's get underway against Whit Merrifield and the San Francisco Giants, as that's called a ball. Otto is currently a guy I am planning on dealing at the trade deadline. I know we just signed him, but we only signed him to a 1-year deal. So I think trading him might be for the best, even though he may not be a starter on many other teams. As that is a slider left over the middle. I don't think Verdugo's getting to this, and he does not. So it's off the high part of the wall. Verdugo throws this into the cutoff man, and that is a double to lead off the day for Whit Merrifield. This is something I have been concerned about with Glenn Otto. He seems to leave his breaking pitches hanging in the zone. That one was a slider, and it was right down the middle. Lucky it wasn't crushed for a run. Like, look at that pitch location in the bottom left, the slider just right over the heart of the plate. Let's see if he can do a little bit better with the curveball, as taking off to steal is Merrifield, and he easily gets to third. I was not ready. So it essentially turns the leadoff double into a leadoff triple, as now they've got the runner on third. And there's another slider in the exact same spot, just right down the middle. Slater goes down on strikes to another auto slider. That one was actually well placed. Now we face Yandy Diaz. The slider is Otto's primary pitch, so you'll see a lot of it. He just needs to stop hanging it over the heart of the plate, and he does it again. And that's going to be the first run on the board for the Giants. They strike first after the Whit Merrifield double turned triple, basically, with the stolen base at third. Yandy Diaz bats him home easily. And hanging the slider once again is Otto. And I mean, it has been right down the middle 3 times. Honestly, lucky that was not a 3-run shot. And stealing is Diaz, and he is safe. Not a great throw from Mejia. And now a runner on second. And that one is speared by Sterling Thompson, and we double him up. Yandy Diaz couldn't get back to second in time. They're doubled up. A great play by Sterling Thompson. And that is the end of the inning, but a kind of rough start for Glenn Otto. Could have been worse, but only 1 run given up. The Rockies face Jordan Hicks today, and it's Kevin Kiermaier leading off. He's another guy that I definitely plan to trade at the deadline. It's a big part of why I made some of the signings I did, is so that we had people to deal at the deadline to hopefully get more prospects. So Kiermaier, I think, could be an excellent addition to an outfield team for a contender. He is regressing slightly right now at 34, which makes sense. This is probably his last season as like a premier starter in the MLB. Came into the team as an 81 overall. He's now down to like a 78 or a 79. In fact, I just remembered that I can show you. Here is Kiermaier. It actually isn't showing his attributes being reduced in the game, but you can see that he's 79 overall, and when we signed him, he was 81. Hopefully that doesn't go down much further by the time we get to the trade deadline. I would deal him now to get it out of the way more quickly, but you can't actually trade free agents that you've signed until June 15th. So we have about a month to go before he's eligible to be traded. And if you're curious, Brenton Doyle is actually playing relatively well at AA. I can show you his stats after this. I'm not sure if he's the guy I would bring up immediately, because I just want him to continue to work on the bat down at AA, maybe just for this whole season. Could also look to trade Brenton Doyle potentially, but I don't know. I don't like that idea too much. He has too much potential to not have him on the team. So out is Kiermaier, and it's Nolan Jones to the plate. And Nolan Jones will draw a walk, so 1 out with 1 runner on, and Alex Verdugo will come to the plate. Verdugo is another guy we could consider trading potentially, as he does have a longer contract though, and he's only 28, so he has some potential as he flies out here to right field on what was a hit and run attempt. Barry Cohen now at the plate. He's batting a .222, definitely needs to improve that a bit, but doing all right as a rookie. We keep interrupting Nolan Jones's steal attempts. Another steal attempt for Nolan, and he's in there safe. Swing and a miss from Barry Cohen, and it's going to be a 2-2 count with a runner on second. But now he's got a runner in scoring position, a good opportunity for an RBI for the rookie Barry Cohen. Swing and a miss on the slider. That is a good pitch, I'm not going to lie. End of the first, and we leave a runner on. Glenn Otto now faces Wilmer Flores. Let's see if he can learn to control that slider. Nope. Oh my God. That one should have been crushed. Nearly every slider is going right down the middle. There's a decent one. And he left another one hanging right down the middle, and he's just not getting punished. He's a lucky fella so far today. Wilmer Flores flies out to right. That's probably a home run in less bad conditions. Like, look at where that pitch was. That's what, the 4th or 5th slider he's just left over the plate. So it's his primary pitch. I feel obligated to throw it, but maybe not. I don't know. He left that sinker over the heart of the plate just then as well. Did it again with the slider. Swing and a miss from Brett Wisely means that Otto gets his second strikeout of the day, 2 gone in the inning. One thing about Glenn Otto, I believe he still has some arbitration left. Oh, he does not actually. He's a free agent after this, so never mind. So it is probably a good idea to trade him, because we basically, you know, lose all value he carries for us right now at the end of the season, and then we'd get nothing in return, as that is a hanging sinker that pops to Kiermaier, and that's the end of the top of the second. Here's another guy on my trade radar, Brendan Rodgers. Although he's playing very, very well this season, His backup is actually playing slightly better, Ahmed Rosario. Rosario plays against left-handed pitching. Rogers is the everyday second baseman, though, at the current moment. And that is a slow grounder onto third, but Rogers is not a fast runner, so that's out number 1. Rogers also a free agent after this season, so it's probably a good idea to trade him to get some value in return. Unfortunately, Amador I still don't think is ready at AAA. He's got that very high potential. It's a potential at the very least, but he continues to kind of just sit at like 68 overall. I don't know, maybe he'll be closer to 70 by the time we get to the trade deadline, as that's a hit by pitch. 100 miles per hour, hits Mejia in the elbow, and he'll take his bag. No injury though, and here's Yanquiel Fernandez, who's been playing pretty well. 261 average for him. And that one is speared at first, and it's going to be a 3-6-3 double play. That'll end the second. Tim Anderson, the longtime White Sox, is at the plate. Another kind of hanging pitch from Glenn Otto. He's just not getting punished for any of these. That's an out for Nolan Jones. A big part of why I brought guys like Otto, Flaherty, and Soroka in is so that we could trade them if we wanted to at the deadline. And I do actually think that Chase Dolander is officially ready for his big league call-up. So definitely that is my plan at the trade deadline, is to trade one of these starting pitchers and bring Dolander up to the majors, let him have his debut, because I think he's ready. Swing and a miss from Patrick Bailey, and that's a strikeout for Glenn Otto, who has settled in after giving up the 1 run in the first. Second time through the order now, it's Whit Merrifield. And a grounder onto Sterling Thompson. Easy play at first, and that is the end of the third. The top half of the third, I should say. Ezequiel Tovar now at the plate. No intentions to trade Tovar. He's still got a lot of team control. I also think he's easily one of the best up-and-coming shortstops in the MLB, but he does ground out on the first pitch he sees. Sterling Thompson, however, I think we could upgrade from, and I think I found a guy in the draft class I'm probably going to take with my 5th overall pick that is a third baseman. I'll show you him after this game here. Thompson got a sinker that was decently high in the zone. Sends it fairly deep to center, but an easy play for the center fielder. And that's 2 gone in the inning. Back to the top of the order, it's Kevin Kiermaier. Do we even have a hit yet? We do not. So currently being no hit through 3. Need to get Hicks to throw more pitches. High and deep, or mostly just high from Kiermaier. Looks like it's mostly just high. I mean, it's relatively deep, but still in front of the warning track. It was a meatball of a sinker. I thought Kiermaier lined it up, but he popped it a little too high, and that's the end of the inning. So Otto getting no run support, and now a base hit for Austin Slater, and he's trying to get to second. There's no chance. Nolan Jones beats him by a mile with the big arm out there in right field. Nolan Jones throws out Slater at second, and what would have been a leadoff single is now 1 out. That one is a good piece of hitting from Jorge Soler. Sends it to left field just on the line. Verdugo doesn't have quite the arm that Nolan Jones does, but maybe could have gotten it there had I not used the cutoff man. But either way, it's a 2-out double for Jorge Soler. Brings up Wilmer Flores. It wants me to go to the curveball, and that scares me. Although at least he left it down this time. There's another one of those hanging sliders, as I tried to throw it to the wrong base the first time and still got the out for Flores at first. I don't know why I was about to throw it to second, but corrected it. Flores is out at first at 18 speed, really helping us out there. Just nothing doing with the bats so far today. Barry Cohen now at the plate. Maybe he can draw a walk, get on base somehow. Whatever it takes, Barry. Let's see it happen. Got one to hit. Crushes it high and deep to center. I think that one's out of here. A perfect from Barry Cohen goes perfectly over the center field wall, and it's a home run for the rookie. Barry Cohen blasts that one 438 feet. It's his 7th home run on the season. I want to say he is 2nd in home runs behind only Nolan Jones. Blasts that one deep and ties it up here in Colorado in the rain. Finally got a hit, and it's a big one. Brendan Rodgers, the man that has to follow that up. I doubt he gets a similar one to hit, but he does get a base hit, and that is onto right field and a base knock for Brendan Rodgers. Maybe a little bit of a 2-out rally going here. Back-to-back hits for the Rockies now. One a long ball and the other one a single. Mejia now the one at the plate. And that is a grounder up the middle, but it bounces off of Jordan Hicks, which means it's a playable ball, but that is not caught by the first baseman. A little bit of a low throw. And now checking on Jordan Hicks, as that did hit him square in the ankle. But it's runners on first and second for the Rockies. We'll see if that's deemed an error or a base hit. Hicks is staying in the game, and it looks like it is not ruled an error. So that is considered a base hit for Mejia. Brings up Yanquiel Fernandez. And he pushes one to left field, and it is just foul. And Fernandez strikes out on a good sinker from Hicks, and that'll end the inning, now tied up at 1 after the Barry Cohen home run. Kiermaier grounds this into right field, and that is a base hit for the leadoff man, our center fielder Kevin Kiermaier, which obviously brings up a scary bat. It's Nolan Jones. And Nolan bloops this one over the third baseman. That was a weird hit for Nolan Jones. Keeps the inning alive, though, and it's 2 runners on for Alex Verdugo, who's been one of our better bats during this sort of winning spree that the Rockies are on. It was a slider that came in, and then Nolan just pushes it the other way somehow. Very awkward piece of hitting, but if it works, it works. Verdugo got one right down the heart of the plate. Did he get enough under it? He does. It gets into the outfield. We're going to send 2 runners home, and Verdugo in with a stand-up double. 2 runs scored for the Rockies off of the bat of Alex Verdugo. Hits it deep to right field, and the Rockies will take the lead 3-1 here in the 5th inning. I was worried that didn't have enough air underneath it and it was going to be caught, but it was not. It gets down, 2 runs scored. Cohen maybe looking for another homer. Cohen grounds this one onto second. An easy play for the second baseman, and they'll get out of the inning, but not before Verdugo blasts one to right field and gets 2 more runners home. 3-1 Rockies. We enter the 6th, and we've still got Glenn Otto in the game. That is only his 50th pitch, that one right there. As long as his pitch count is super low, might as well let him eat up some innings. Keep the bullpen nice and fresh as he faces Patrick Bailey here. That's strike number 3 on a crazy 12-6 curve from Glenn Otto. And that is a sinker left over the middle. And Kiermaier will have to field this one, and that is a single for Whit Merrifield. That is a grounder right back at Otto, who fields it, and it's on to Tovar, on to Cohen, a double play for the Rockies. And that'll get us out of the top part of the 6th. Ethan Small has entered the game for the Giants, so no win possible for Jordan Hicks today. 2 gone in the bottom of the 6th for Yanquiel Fernandez, facing off against Ethan Small. Small has much slower pitches than Jordan Hicks so far, which has really caught me off guard through the first 2 at-bats. Maybe Fernandez will see it better. Fernandez does indeed see it better, walks on 4 pitches. Tovar grounds this one to third, and it actually stays fair. And extending this to third is Fernandez, and Tovar gets into second with a 2-out double. Rockies really like to get things going with 2 outs in the inning, which is a little unfortunate, to be honest with you. But we'll take it. Good piece of hitting from Ezequiel Tovar, just pushes it right down the line. And that is 2 on and 2 out for Sterling Thompson. And he pushes one into left field. And they are actually sending Tovar home. I did not pick that myself, and he's out at the plate. I personally would have held him, but I have auto base running on to make things a little more interesting. And Tovar is sent home, and that ends the inning. But the Rockies do score 1 off of the Sterling Thompson base hit. Hey, we're into the 7th now, and I wasn't liking Glenn Otto, but he's got us here with only 1 run on the board for the Giants. As long as he's got decent energy and hasn't thrown a lot of pitches, I'll keep him in. Swing and a miss from Yandy Diaz. And that is the first out of the 7th. Swing and a miss from Jorge Soler. And another out in the inning, and another strikeout for Otto, his 6th on the day. And that one is, straight at Kevin Kiermaier. My goodness, he didn't have to move an inch in center field, and that's 3 gone in the inning. The Rockies bats will take back over with a 4-1 lead. And that is a perfect from Kevin Kiermaier, and it gets through into the right center gap, and we're going to send Kevin Kiermaier to 3, and I think that's going to be a pretty easy triple for the old man. 34 years old, he's still got good speed, and he gets in with a lead-off triple here in the 7th. That's Kiermaier's 5th triple on the season, which is good for first on the Rockies, and what a way to start the inning. Nolan Jones blasts the next pitch to right field. It's over the wall, a 2-run shot for the Rockies, and now it's really getting out of hand. 6-1 here in Colorado for Nolan Jones' 9th home run of the season after the lead-off triple from Kevin Kiermaier. That's why I like them at 1 and 2. Kiermaier gets on base a lot. Nolan Jones blasts the ball deep a lot. It's a good combo. They'll bring in Sean Jelly to take over on the mound. Barry Cohen got one to hit. He pushes this deep to left, and that's going to get down for a base hit, and it hit the wall too fast to send him to second, so we'll leave him at first. Somehow that's a single, even though it hits the left field wall. Cohen not the fastest, but man, that hit was just rifled into left. Bounced off the wall too fast, played by the left fielder. No chance at a double there, but still a base runner for Brendan Rodgers. And Jelly is just leaving fastballs right over the heart of the plate, and we are not taking advantage. But Brendan Rodgers out again. Francisco Mejia, maybe he can bring some more runs home. 2-out rally keeps going. It does indeed, as he gets that down into right field over the second baseman, and Cohen advances to second. And he kind of bloops this one into right, an easy play for the right fielder, and that will indeed end the 7th. But a 2-run shot from Nolan Jones makes it 6-1, and Colorado primed for another victory. We are officially to the point with Glenn Otto where I will take him out of the game if he walks or gives up a base hit. His energy has officially entered the yellow. That is a perfect sinker, though, from Glenn Otto as he strikes out his 7th. What an outing it's been after the struggles in the first. I still think he's been very, very lucky this outing. He's had several sliders that were just hanging over the heart of the plate. We'll take luck from time to time, and him going deep into a game means that we can keep our relievers nice and rested. Swing and a miss from Matt Chapman. Glenn Otto his 8th strikeout on the day through 8 innings. And this will definitely be his last batter regardless of the outcome. That is a grounder up the middle. Kind of an awkward play for Ezekiel Tovar, but he makes it happen onto Barry Cohen. And what an outing it has been for Glenn Otto. So to end off the day, we're bringing in Jonathan Loaisiga, who has easily been our worst relief pitcher this season. Been a really bad free agent acquisition thus far. Let's see if he can turn that around. Surely he can't screw up a 6-1 lead in the 9th. Bad call to start the inning is a bad sign. I do have Jalen Beeks at the ready. If it gets into the point where it's a save situation, that's a swing from Patrick Bailey. And a walk to Patrick Bailey for Loaisiga. Now a grounder onto Cohen and a throwing error. That is the 2nd time now this season he has allowed that to happen. A throwing error from Cohen on what should have been a double play. And now there's runners on 2nd and 3rd. Should have just stepped on the bag. Well, now it's scary. Should be 2 outs in the 9th with no runners on. Instead, it's no outs with 2 runners on. All thanks to Barry Cohen, who is apparently a liability in the field. Maybe he needs to be DHing. That's a thought. We could move him to DH and move some things around defensively. As that one blasted into right, and it's going to get down, and Loaisiga, not really his fault, but 2 runs allowed, and now a runner on 2nd. I think we have to bring in Jalen Beeks. This is ridiculous. Loaisiga is incredibly unlucky. This Giants team is unbelievable against lefty pitchers. Like, look at Diaz's numbers against lefties. Everyone on this roster seems to be worse against righties. So I'm going to bring in John Curtis, and I may live to regret this, but Curtis has been one of our best relievers for the past 2 seasons, and the righty-righty matchups are favorable for him. No outs with a runner on 2nd. And that is a grounder to right field. They are sending the runner home. Can Nolan Jones throw him out at home? He can, and out, saves a run. Nolan Jones' 2nd put out of the day, his 2nd assist of the day. Nolan Jones having a cannon in right has paid off twice in this game alone. A great throw from Nolan, a good tag from Mejia, And that's the first out of the inning. And a walk from John Curtis. Man, oh man, this bullpen. Faces Wilmer Flores, who is officially the tying run. So a home run would tie this game up. Grounder onto Sterling Thompson is just foul. It ate him up anyway. I don't even know if he was fielding that properly. And that one is straight to Verdugo. Oh my God, he wasn't moving. I thought he was going to misplay that for a second. That's out number 2. Brett Wisely becomes the final out, hopefully. Can Curtis get out of this pickle? Can't believe all of this is really just from a Barry Cohen throwing error. Just step on the bag, Barry, and that's game over. Rockies win 6-3. Barry Cohen getting the final out after nearly costing the Rockies the game with the throwing error, which is now the second time that has happened. I'm going to have to take a look at his arm. I didn't think that he was that bad of a fielder. I know he's a way better bat than he is a fielder, but man, he has been a liability there defensively at first base. Might have to reconsider the lineups going forward. So a really good day for the Rockies all around for the most part. Nearly choked the game away, but didn't. Glenn Otto got through 8 full innings, no walks, only 1 earned run, and 8 strikeouts. Definitely deserved player of the game. Take a look at how the Rockies did. Everyone except for Yanquiel Fernandez was able to get a hit, but Fernandez did reach base once with a walk, so we'll take that. Nolan Jones reaching base 3 times, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, and a walk. Really good day, just the whole way down the board for the Rockies. Well, here's Barry Cohen. His arm is terrible, actually. Yeah, 43 arm, 40 accuracy. I think maybe we'll just have to play to Barry Cohen's strengths. If there is a grounder to him at first, we can't throw it. We just have to step on the bag until he gets better with the arm. It's really the accuracy that's the big issue. I don't care if his arm strength is only 43, he's playing at first. It doesn't matter that much, but the accuracy has to be higher for sure. But a win is a win is a win, as they say. Cal Quantrill is 6-2 on the season. He'll face Robbie Ray in the Giants matchup today. Really quick, I want to do a player lock game with Zach Veen, who is batting 181 down here at AA. I'm honestly not sure what to do about Zach Veen. He is playing terribly down here at AA, and he is a better overall than Jordan Beck. Theoretically, should be the AAA starter. Maybe even should be at the MLB at 71 overall, I want to say, but continues to just be terrible. And he was bad last year in the minor league system. I feel like you just can't justify calling that up as he grounds into a double play here. I'm not sure. Maybe we include him in like a trade deal to get better prospects or something. This might be one of those situations where he just needs a change of scenery, and the Rockies maybe need to move on as he makes a crazy diving play in right field using Showtime. I don't know. You guys let me know what you think. Zach Veen, definitely a decent prospect, 81 potential. So it's not like he's going to be a bad player. Eventually he'll be, you know, a high 70s to low 80s overall guy at his peak, but he just continues to struggle in the minor leagues for us. I think that maybe a different team could use his services. We have Jordan Beck, obviously, that I like more than him and has higher potential. We have Pinto, who we drafted last season, who has a potential, which I want to say is like a 94 or something. He's just very low overall, but needs to work his way up the system. We obviously have Fernandez playing left. We have Doyle, the prospective center field starter going forward. We have Verdugo, who's only 28, you know, currently entering his prime. Do we really need Zach Veen anymore? I don't necessarily think that we do. I think that he is maybe a good trade piece. He's continued to play terribly for us, so why not give him a new opportunity with a new team, give him a fresh start, give him a chance somewhere else. As that gets down, and I'm going to send Veen to second. This is dumb, but I'm doing it. And a good throw, but not good enough. It was just off the bag. So Veen gets into second. Now there's an injury, probably to the guy who dove in right. Let me know what you guys think, though. Should we keep Veen? He's only 23, obviously has a lot of time left before, you know, he's not under team control. So it doesn't hurt us to keep him and just have him in the system. But I do think that if he could be used as a trade piece to acquire, you know, a big name prospect, then maybe it's worth it. There are a few teams, like I think the Reds, for example, are very weak in the outfield. They could use a guy like Kiermaier and Veen if we wanted to double them up as a package and maybe get a slightly better prospect out of the deal. The Reds are currently in the playoff hunt. We'll see if that remains the same closer to the trade deadline. Obviously, I'm trying to only trade these guys to contenders because I'm not trying to steal top prospects from teams that are garbage. Bases loaded, 2 gone in the inning for Zach Veen. Now, this is a critical situation for the young man. He doesn't have a ton of at-bats, so he can obviously turn his season around still. I won't make any, rash decisions with guys like Zach Veen, as that one is deep to left, but not deep enough. By the warning track is the left fielder. That'll end the 5th. That was a good one to hit. Now we're to the 7th. It's 2 gone again in the inning. No home runs yet this season for Zach Veen, which is interesting. The left fielder didn't move an inch. He shifted his feet slightly, but didn't move an inch. That is crazy. I hate when that happens. And the Yard Goats lose. Zach Veen, I think, getting the 1 base hit, but outside of that, did pretty much nothing. Hunter Goodman was 3 for 4. He's continued to play quite well at AA. So there's your little update on the situation with Zach Veen, kind of how I'm feeling about it. Then as for starting pitchers, I do think that Satchel Paige and Chase Dollander could be starters in our rotation. Younger guys. You look at our current starting rotation, the youngest guy is Soroka at 27. Would love to bring Dollander up. He's been playing very well at AA, a 2.8 ERA with a 1.2 whip. He's only 3 and 4, so he's not catching a lot of victories, but that doesn't matter too much because his numbers are good. Satchel Paige is another guy I'd like to bring up. His AAA stats are not as good. In fact, whip is below average. ERA is still decent, and he's actually getting more wins. He's 5 and 3. But I think these guys could easily be starters in the MLB right now. Dollander is above 50 on like every major attribute, so that's really good to see. My concern with Paige is the same as it was last season, where his hit per 9 and K per 9 are low, but his walk and home run per 9 are pretty high. His control's decent. His velo's not bad. I honestly think that these two are ready. Quinn Priester's close. He does have good pitch control, but these per 9 attributes, the hit, K, walk, and home run per 9, need a little bit of work still, mostly the walk per 9, I would say. He has been pretty much just average in terms of whip at a 1.3 and has a 3.5 ERA, which is actually pretty good. Antonio Senzatella is playing at an elite level at AAA. He's 5 and 3 on the season. He's deep potential though, and that deep potential is 69. So at 69 overall, he's basically where he's going to be. He's 30 years old. His hit per 9 is awful. His K per 9 is awful. He can't really be traded, to be honest with you, because his contract is so horrendous. Here's Senza, 10.1 million over the next 3 seasons. I don't think that there is a team in the world that is taking a trade for Antonio Senzatella, a deep potential 30-year-old that has awful K and hit per 9. I think that John Shurak is ready to come up to AA. And I think in order to make that happen, I would want to move one of these AA pitchers up to AAA. Maybe Feltner, who has a 1.39 whip. Maybe Manny Nunez, who is 4 and 1 with a 1.51 ERA and a 0.95 whip. Yeah, I think Manny Nunez is the guy that needs to go up to AAA. I'm going to keep Freeland because he's playing very well at the majors. 0.71 whip. I'm gonna keep him for now at least, but we'll probably bite the bullet and release him at some point. A 0.71 whip is insane, by the way, but I'm gonna do it right now. I'm pulling off the band-aid. Antonio Senzatella is getting released. I think that this is the best the Rockies can do. Although he's playing well at AAA, he is nothing but a reliever, and a reliever worth 10.1 million, which I think is like the top 15 paid reliever if we were to move him to reliever before trading him. So we cut Senza, and that frees up a roster spot. John Shurak, welcome to AA, where you will be part of the starting pitcher rotation. This is our top pitching prospect outside of Dollander, of course. We have so many starting pitchers at AA. So Manny Nunez, who's been playing incredibly at AA with the 0.95 whip through 53.2 innings pitched, is going to be moved up to AAA, get his chance up there. And then in terms of relief pitchers, I think that Taylor Bowers, who was one of our draft picks from last season as well, is probably ready for AAA. The guy is killing it. 1.02 ERA, a 0.68 whip, Only 17.2 innings pitched, so it hasn't been a ton of work for him. But I think he is ready. I think he can be at AAA. He's honestly our best reliever that isn't already at the MLB. So there he is. John Shurak enters the starting rotation for the Yard Goats as the number 2 guy, but he's the worst overall pitcher in the starting rotation. So let's play John Shurak's AA debut. It's Feltner today against Redding, and then it'll be Shurak against Dylan Covey. So let's sim through a day. Cal Quantrill got the win 6-3 again over the San Francisco Giants. He's 7-2 on the season now. 2.45 ERA, by the way. And we'll sim through the final game against the Giants. And we're in a situation here. Fernandez has 2 home runs, wants to make it 3, and it would be a walk-off. Oh man, I have to enter this. Yanquiel Fernandez, 2 for 3, both of those being 2 home runs. 4 RBIs, which is all of the runs for the Rockies today. Can he get a third to walk it off in the bottom of the 9th? The rookie, Yanquiel Fernandez. Oh my God, that was the one. It was a hanging slider, and he was on top of it. Failed attempt for Fernandez. And the Giants end up winning off of a Diaz grand slam. 10-5 was the final. My goodness, it was 4-4 a second ago. So now we find ourselves at AA once again, this time to player lock with one of our top prospects coming up from single A into AA. It is John Shurak. My major concern with Shurak, he has high potential, probably going to be a really good pitcher someday. His durability is under 50. So there may be injury concerns with him. Hopefully that is not the case. Here we go, John. Let's show the world what you've got. As that is a base hit on the first pitch he throws at AA. Hilarious. So what kind of pitches does this guy have? What kind of movement have you got? That is a changeup right down the middle. Oh my God. John, you're making me concerned a little bit. Those were really bad changeups. Actually, the first changeup wasn't terrible, but that changeup was. Here's a 2-seamer, and that hits the corner. Doesn't throw particularly hard. He has a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer, a changeup, and a sweeper, it looks like. His changeup has not been great, and that one's out of the zone. Well, immediately I'm concerned. He has no confidence in his fastballs, and he's mislocating his off-speed stuff, and is that going to bloop in? It does. Oh my goodness. So bases loaded. Back-to-back-to-back singles to start the AA career of John Shurak. Maybe he wasn't ready. I thought he was, but maybe he was not. Maybe it's a me problem. So when we drafted him, we knew that he was kind of just an all-around pitcher and not necessarily, you know, like a strikeout guy, as that's going to score at least 2 runs. Yeah, it scores 2 runs, 2-0. No outs for Shurak. Can we call a mound visit? Is that something I can do? No, because it's player lock. Can't even get 1 out here in AA. This is really bad. Pop up, Drew Romo, who has been recently demoted, is the catcher today. And he gets the out there. So the first out in the career of Shurak after giving up 2 runs. Bad start for John Shurak. There's a swing and a miss. Here's his attributes. If you didn't remember, he has a low K/9. The control is a 46, so it's not the best. He has work to do for sure. He's a little ways away from the MLB, that is for certain. Probably 2 or 3 seasons away, I would say. But he has some upside. He's an all-around type of guy. Like, you look at these, he's not super horrible or super good at anything in particular. You'd love a high strikeout guy, but I love that he prevents hits, as he does have the 65 hit per 9, although you wouldn't think he'd prevent hits based on how he's playing so far today. That one is blasted into left center. It gets down as well. 3 runs given up already in the first inning of Shurak's debut, and everyone is making contact off of him. They're pinch running in the first. Was there an injury that I missed? That's bizarre. You don't normally see a pinch runner in the first. I'm going to guess it's an injury. That might be down as well. No, it's out to center field, but it is going to score another run. So 4 runs given up in the first inning of John Shurak's AA debut. Well, this isn't exactly the showing that you wanted. Maybe you can settle in. Like, please just settle in. Okay, that's contact again. High and deep to right, but the third out. My God, what a rough start to the career of John Shurak. I don't know if I'm the one who is able to pull him. I won't pull him for now. I don't want to just sabotage Hartford, but how much do we really care about the Double-A team performing well. Shurak's got to get it together, though, here in the second, hopefully, as that is more contact. Like I said, he has a low K per 9. That is maybe the worst aspect of his game. 40 K per 9, but there's a K, the first one in his Double-A career. That's a good start. At least he got an out early in the inning this time instead of waiting until 2 runs were already scored. And another strikeout, this time looking for Shurak. Already 37 pitches in, and we're not even the full way through the second. Can Shurak get the strikeout? No. But a fly out to Zach Veen in right field on what was a very hanging curveball. Into the third now, and Shurak will get an out on his first pitch of the inning. Definitely settling in a bit, it seems, although his curveball placement is horrendous. There is a fastball that gets grounded to short. That is a difficult play, and safe at first is the runner. Runner takes off for second. Drew Romo, can he throw him out? No. Safe is the call at second. Interestingly, I think that runner that is on second is Jimmy Herron, which is a guy that was, I think, in our farm system last season that I probably cut. And that is a little blooper into left, and that's going to be the 5th run scored. Against Shurak, the throw to the plate, not in time, and a single for Wingrove will score another run for Reading. Hartford unable to bring it back. It is a loss for John in his debut. 4 innings pitched, 5 earned runs, which gives him a starting ERA of 11.25. Hopefully that simulates down nicely. Was not impressed by John. It seems like his control is not there. Can't strike anybody out. And despite his hit per 9 being kind of high, he gave up a lot of hits. So a horrible debut for Shurak, but we'll keep a close eye on him through the sim. I'm just hoping he doesn't get injured. I'm thinking that he might, though. Let's go ahead and simulate a bit more. We've been kind of slow and steady wins the race. Let's get through the end of May here and a good chunk into June. Time for more scouting, though, and here's a couple guys I looked at. Connie Cruz looks like an intriguing starting pitcher. High strikeouts per 9. The control is bad, though, and I keep getting these pitchers with bad control, and I feel like it's just going to continue to bite me. But getting a guy with high strikeouts would be really fun. We don't really have that on the team at the moment. Here's Eugene Adams. He's kind of just like a for sure thing, but he almost definitely won't fall, and I definitely don't think he's worth the 5th overall pick. But an 80 to 85 potential guy, high stamina, high strikeouts per 9, very balanced player the whole way down, has decent pitch control. He'd be an enticing guy if maybe he fell to like 40th, but he probably won't, and he's definitely not worth the 5th pick. The guy I think I want to draft at 5th is Rob Kearns, a 3rd baseman out of California. His secondary position is left field, and just look at these future projections. Really good contact, decent power against righties, and good contact against lefties. His fielding definitely needs some work. His arm is pretty good, though. He's not slow, but he's not overly fast, but he's gonna have really high plate discipline. I like Rob Kearns a lot. His potential's a little all over the place, admittedly. It'd be pretty devastating if I found out that it was a true 79, but it could be as high as 94 as well. I think that as our draft rank 4, he makes a lot of sense to draft at 5th overall. I'm pretty sold on that. I also like Steve Tachiki, but he's probably gonna fall, and we could maybe grab him with our 40th pick. The only other guy I think I would maybe take at 5th right now is Pedro Liriano. He's not a great bat, don't get me wrong, but he can play everywhere. And look at those fielding attributes. Just an elite level fielder at every position, outfield or infield, except for first base. That's the only position he cannot play that isn't catcher. Just looks like an insane player and a guy that could be really, really good for a long time, even if he's only a platoon dude, because he can just play everywhere. Super intriguing for sure. I just think that the upside of Kearns is slightly higher because I do personally value the offense more than the defense, and you've seen that with guys like Brenton Doyle. There's also Ben Gonzalez. It's unlikely he'll fall to 5th, but I'll definitely have to consider him if he does, because he just looks like an all-around good pitcher, but the walks and strikeouts per 9 being low is a little concerning, but high stamina, high hits per 9, and then just balanced elsewhere. Jose Rosales is weird, man. He's 18. We have him 65% scouted. He was completely not ranked in the MLB. He's our prospect number 9, really high stamina, really high walks per 9, and then just kind of terrible at everything else. Definitely don't think he's worth the 9th, but if truly he's not ranked by the MLB, we could snag him super late if we wanted to and have him be a bit of a project guy. We probably need to learn a little bit more about him. I'd want him to be fully scouted before I were to commit to that. So let's go ahead and scout starting pitchers internationally. And then I am going to scout Dallas Rutledge with my 3rd scout. He'll be 50% scouted by the end of it. 18 years old, looks to have high contact vision and discipline, and a good fielder that's very fast. So very interested in Dallas Rutledge. He's the draft rank 41, so he would theoretically be available at 40. I feel like I know the guys I want for my 5th overall pick, so now it's kind of time to figure out who we want elsewhere. So let's continue the sim and then do some more scouting. This would be to win the game for the Rockies, and they have lost. And they have lost the series due to that. The Marlins have offered us Mitch Garver for Brendan Rodgers. That's very interesting, but also a terrible, awful trade for me. Hello? That is now 2 series losses in a row, and Loaizaga is injured. He has a concussion. He'll be out for 1 to 2 weeks. What would we like to do? 15-day IL for Loaizaga. And yes, let's stop simulating. I think the guy I want to bring up to replace him temporarily is Cody Hewer. He's a 28-year-old that I signed off of free agency, and the reason I like him is because his control, velocity, and break are all very high. He's also been solid at AAA this season, 3.7 ERA with a 1.25 whip. No, it's only the 15-day IL for Loaizaga, but we could bring up Hewer, and he does have minor league options available to use. I do have to add him to the 40-man first. Unfortunately, the only guy that made sense to waive off of the 40-man was Raimel Tapia, so we have waived him, and now we're going to bring up Sean Bouchard to the MLB to be a backup outfielder. Bouchard was playing extremely well at AAA. I should have showed you the stats before I brought him up. My apologies. And I think that he is really at his peak a platoon guy. So I think that he'll be up at the majors for quite some time now. Could consider trading him as well, by the way. Still has 3 years of arbitration, but B potential, I want to say it's like 82. He's not a bad player by any means. The Rockies have now lost 6 straight, starting with this loss against the Cubs, and it seems like our winning ways might officially be over. By the way, Yanquiel Fernandez is still leading the team in RBIs, and he's batting like 7th or 6th in the lineup typically. I mean, if it's working, it's working. I don't want to move him around too much. I might move Nolan back to the 3 spot, though. It does seem like he sims better from the 3rd spot in the lineup rather than the 2. So let's make some changes to the lineup. I think Nolan Jones should absolutely be the number 3 guy again. We're going to simulate through this game, and now we're to scouting. It's still another loss, but we got more runs. So we brought Drew Romo down to AA, and he is currently killing it. Only 34 at bats, but batting a .412 and driving in 4 runs now in AA, so looking much better for Romo. We're a little more narrowed in now on Rutledge, and his power actually came up a bit. His contact remained quite high. His vision and discipline is still pretty high. His fielding, I want to say, dropped a little. He's an all-around really good player, it seems like, and he has a ton of secondary positions, which is awesome. He can play 3rd and the outfield. You love to see that. I'm going to scout him for 1 more week, I think. Jose Rosales has now moved up to Rockies draft rank 5. He continues to climb our boards, and I'm just not seeing the appeal, but apparently he's a really good player. The fact that he's jumping up my draft rank makes me think that he might have high potential. I might be metagaming a little bit with that, but why would he be so high on our draft ranking if he doesn't really look that good? Like, he's got the high stamina and walks per 9. Past that, he's like mid at best. His control is pretty bad. Definitely a project guy. Probably going to be a low 50s overall starter when I draft him, if I draft him. I don't want to take a super high pick with him. I think there's more value. Like Steve Tochiki, I think we could get easily at 40th, and I think he brings more value. But Rosales, a guy we could get, you know, round 4, 5, or 6 maybe, then I'd be happy to do that. He must have high potential. Cristobal Robles is another guy that has climbed up our boards that was not ranked on the MLB boards. Very all around as well, but without the walks or strikeouts per 9. I forget which one was high for the other player, but high stamina, little bit better control, at least in the future. He's another guy maybe we could take super late. You don't mind taking these types of risks late. And then there's another Cristobal immediately after him, also unranked, Cristobal Caruso. He's got super high velo, high hits per 9, high stamina. We know more about him. It's more narrowed in with Caruso, 82 to 92 potential. Doing some more simulating now, and that is yet another loss for the Rockies. Edmundo Sosa, a third baseman from the Phillies for Zach Veen. Why would I do this? 29 years old, B potential. He can play everywhere in the infield, including first base. He has bad discipline, really good against lefties, but 29, he is playing really well this season. This would be a trade that I think I would make if we were contending this season, but we're not. We're not a contender this year, so I'm going to pass. The Rockies have now lost 8 straight games. They're 29 and 32 now after being well above 500 for a little while. Finally, a victory over Milwaukee. Cody Hewer gets the victory there. Let's check the box score. Only 4 hits for Colorado in this victory, and 3 RBIs all came off of Ezekiel Tovar. Jack Flaherty, a pretty good day. He's bringing the ERA down, still walked 2 batters. Kyle Freeland has continued to be good, and Cody Hewer got the victory despite only pitching against 1 batter, and he walked him. There's a series win against Milwaukee. Now we play the Red Sox. They've beat us 8-6 and then 3-1, a victory for the Rockies. Time for more scouting, and then that's where we'll end off the episode. We officially know all we're going to know about Dallas Rutledge. Contact against righties isn't as good. His contact against lefties is still quite high, and he still looks to be a plus fielder that can play a lot of positions and will have decent vision and discipline. The potential being 73 to 88 though is concerning, because if that's in the mid 70s, it's not exactly ideal. So maybe not Dallas Rutledge. Jose Rosales has jumped to our draft rank 1. He must be generational, and I'm just not seeing it. He's not ranked on the MLB boards. He's our draft rank 1 now, 82 to 98 potential as an 18-year-old. I just don't see as much upside, especially as a Rockies pitcher. Low hits per 9, low strikeouts per 9. He must be generational or something, I guess. I don't really know how to tell when a pitcher is generational as much as I do with a batter, but you guys let me know. Maybe we should take Jose Rosales with our 5th pick. And to finish off the episode, let's simulate one more week. Looking like this is going to be a long episode. Do one more scouting session because I'm curious about some players. Rockies lose against the Red Sox, beat the Mariners again, and now Loaizaga no longer injured. So how's Cody been doing in his time at the MLB? 5 innings pitched, no earned runs allowed, and a 1.2 whip. Just did not see a lot of action, did he? Cody Hewer's going to get sent back down to AAA, but I tell you what, Loaizaga has been easily our worst reliever this season, a 1.67 whip. It is coming down slowly but surely. If he continues to be bad, I think we trade him, but I'm not certain. Let me know what you guys think. Well, Zach Veen is not getting traded this season. He just tore his rotator cuff, and he will be out for over 6 months. 60-day IL for Zach. And it's probably a little early for him, but I think that means Carlos Pinto gets to come up to the AA and play in place of Zach Veen. So the Rockies have fallen to 34 and 38 and have lost 3 straight now to Seattle and then 2 to Detroit. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Got through a decent chunk of the season in this episode. We're probably going to speed it back up now that the Rockies are done with their little winning spree. So in the next episode, we'll probably get pretty close to the draft, if not even do the draft. And I think now that we're to June 15th, we maybe look at starting to get some of these trades done. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate the continued support, and I will see you in the next episode.